This is our exhibition entitled Playing Cowboy. And this exhibition really examines the role that the performing and visual arts played in crafting our ideas of what a cowboy is during this period from the late 19th to the early 20th centuries. And this exhibition focuses on the idea that cowboys were primarily white, these self-reliant, independent men with high moral standards and who carried 6 irons on their hips. When in reality, up to a third of cowboys who were working at this time period were either African American or Mexican, some Native Americans, but it was a very small proportion. And then this exhibition really looks at how Buffalo Bill helped craft this identity, as well as famous artists of the time like Frederic Remington and Charles Marion Russell. William Buffalo Bill Cody was the progenitor of what we come to know as the Wild West show that eventually influenced things like the Western film genre. And he was this character who was a great showman. He developed the show that traveled throughout the country and even the world, promoting this idea of what was the American West.
Ladies and gentlemen, permit me to introduce to you a Congress of the Rough Riders of the world.
And he was such a great showman, he realized that film was the next big thing in public entertainment, and so he was an early adapter of film technology. He even allowed Thomas Edison Studios to film him reenacting his glory days as a scout for the U.S. Army. One of my favorite things in the exhibition is a small group of posters that are related to the outlaw Jesse James. And these posters are basically promoting a theatrical production that was written shortly after his death that sort of lionized his behavior. They treated him as a Robin Hood type figure. Within its first season, the title changed over to James H. Wallach, the Bandit King. That was the name of the lead actor and the producer of the show, because we believe that Northern audiences didn't like the idea of turning this villain who was a Confederate sympathizer and a Confederate guerrilla warrior into a heroic character. And what's really extraordinary is that Shelburne Museum has the largest collection of posters related to the specific production. In addition to cowboys, the exhibition focuses on portrayals of Native Americans in the latter part of the 19th and early part of the 20th centuries. These are by no means sympathetic portrayals of Native Americans. They're mostly stereotypical and based on racist ideas of the times. One of the prime examples of a commercialized portrayal of a Native American is the cigar store figure. We're all familiar with these. The cigar store figure is kind of woven into the DNA of Shelburne Museum. Our founder, Electra Havemeyer-Webb, the first piece of quote, folk art that she purchased was a cigar store figure of a maiden that she bought from a gas station in Connecticut. And when she brought it home to show her mother, who was a collector of famous Impressionist paintings, asked her, "What have you done?" And Electra replied that she had bought art. One of the jewels of the exhibition are a trio of transparent paintings that were done in 1850 of Native American chieftains and figures. And these are important because they were an early form of public entertainment. They were painted on a translucent, semi-translucent fabric, and then oiled, and then they were stretched over a frame and backlit by candles. So they were displayed in these dark tents where they would have an orator come in and give the stories and the histories of these important Native American figures. These are the only ones known to survive. They're extraordinary. We have 7 in total. 3 of the best are on display today. They include people like Powhatan, who was the father of Pocahontas, Tecumseh, and Osceola, all very important figures in the history of Native American cultures. It was cultural appropriation, and it was the perfect form of edutainment. People would come from far and wide to see these displays. They would take what little disposable cash they had, and they would, buy tickets. And then they were given this view of history from the white perspective, where they were saying, Powhatan was the father of Pocahontas, and then they would go into Pocahontas' story. And it was all told from the white perspective. This exhibition approaches these very difficult topics of race head on. We wanted to include objects from our collection that were historical representations and present them in the story as part of this history. But we also want people to know that it's important for cultural institutions today to address subjects such as racism and the mistreatment of people. And we do that through these artifacts that are sometimes difficult to look at. We're not a political institution, and really when we approach an exhibition like this, we do it from the standpoint of reportage. We are reporting history, and we put all the tools and information out there for the audience to come in and draw their own conclusions. It's my hope that people who come to Shelburne Museum to see Playing Cowboy will find something unexpected and new and learn something about our past that makes them reflect upon their own lives today.